Hey guys, today we are going to get started actually writing our literary essays. So there's a couple of things that you're going to want to have open as we work. One thing you want to have open probably is our literary essay example that I shared on November 5th. So if you scroll down in our news feed, that's down here by the Dancing Wings video. So that example essay will help you. The other thing that you're going to want to have open is the essay outline format that I've shared with you just today. So it has the parts of an essay on the top. And then as you'll scroll down, this is where we're actually going to be typing in our essay. So you'll want to have this. The other thing you'll want to have out to help you today as you're thinking through a thesis notes that we completed on Friday. So I've got mine pulled up here of my example. So let's dive into this and take a look at what an introduction looks like, because today we are just going to be working on writing a strong introduction to our literary essay. So the first thing that we need to have in our introduction is some sort of hook or lead that grabs the reader's attention and connects the thesis. Then we need to write a summary of the story, giving background information to the reader about the story, including the author. Ours doesn't have an author, so you don't have to worry about that because we have a video. But we'll want to give the title, talk a little bit about the characters and setting. And then to summarize, I like to use Somebody Wanted But So Then, which we've worked on in reading earlier this year. And then the last thing we will put is the claim or thesis that we developed on Friday. And we should already have that written because your claim or thesis should be right here. So it's literally a matter of copying and pasting that. So let's take a look at a good example. This one from Dancing in the Wings started with the hook, "We all have times in our lives where we want to change ourselves to get noticed." Okay, so I like how that person referred to like we all. It's not like you are in the story, the boys. It's giving a hook to the reader. So I might try to do something like that. So I'm going to look at my claim or thesis, which was, throughout this story, the boys learn that they need to have determination to solve their problems. So if I go into my essay outline, I'm going to type my hook here. So my claim or thesis was about how we need to have determination to solve our problems. So I might say, like, in life, we all have times where we need to have determination to, in life, we all have times where we need to have determination to solve a problem. Perfect. So there's my hook or lead. It hopefully will grab the reader's attention. It connects to my thesis. I've said we need to have determination to solve a problem. I might even underline that to show that I've got that connection to my thesis. And it's connecting to the reader. It's saying like we, the reader being included in that. So the next thing that I have to do is summarize the story. So like in Dancing in the Wings, in the example, they do it this way. The book Dancing in the Wings by Debbie Allen tells the story of a young girl named Sassy who is trying to finally have her chance in the spotlight. The problem is, Sassy has big feet and is super tall, so she can't dance with the other dancers. One day, a man named Mr. DeBow visits their dance class with great news. He is looking for talented dancers to come with him to Washington, D.C. for the Summer Dance Festival. This is Sassy's chance to finally be in the spotlight. Sassy wants to be in the spotlight so badly, she changes herself to get noticed. But Mr. DeBow and the other people don't like this. So I like how they start with the title, and you'll notice it's in italics. They've got the author. They talk about this character, Sassy. That's the somebody. What does she want? She wants to have her chance in the spotlight, but then it gets into the problem. So one day a man named Mr. Bell visits the dance class. Then she finally gets a chance to be in the spotlight. So right within there, they summarize the story using the structure Somebody Wanted But So Then. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I want to make sure I start with the title of the story. So I might say, and remember, this is all going to build into one paragraph. So I always like to reread what I've written before to see how I'll tie it in. In life, we all have times where we need to have determination to solve a problem. In the story, Payne Football Club, and I'm going to make sure before I forget that I'm going to put my title in italics, that's the I up here. In the story of Pawnee Football Club, now I want to get into my somebody. In the story of Pawnee Football Club, a young group of boys. Oh, so I got my characters. Now I also want to get to their setting a little bit because that is important to the story that they live on like this floating village in Thailand. In the story Pawnee Football Club, a young group of boys living in Pawnee, Thailand, decide that they are going to start a football team. That's a somebody, and now I've gotten into what they wanted to, that they wanted to start a football team. Decide that they are going to start a football team. The problem is, and I could say but because my thesis is problem, I'm going to try to use that word as much as I can. Thailand decided that they were going to start a team, football team. The problem is they live on a floating village where there is no place to play football. The problem is they live in a floating village where there's no place to play football. In fact, no one in their village has ever played. I want to read this to see where my sentence is going. The problem is they live on a floating village where there's no place to play football. In fact, no one in their village has ever played before. Period. So the boys work together to create their very own football pitch. The boys work together to create their very own football pitch. I feel like I should add a couple details about how like the pitch isn't super great though. So I might go like it. So the boys work together to create their own very football pitch, and teach themselves to play football. Ooh, I almost wanted to say soccer, but I'm going to try to always say football because that's what they call it in the video. So the boys work together to create their very own football pitch and teach themselves to play football, despite the pitch being challenging to play on. In the end, that's kind of getting into my then. So the boys work together to create their very own football pitch and teach themselves to play football despite the pitch being challenging to play on. In the end, the boys even go to a football tournament. Boys even go to a football tournament and prove to themselves that they were better than they thought they could be. Feel like I should add something about the villagers doubting them, but I can always come back. I'll move on for now. But that might be something you consider adding into your summary, is that perhaps like I could add that into like their problem. Like the problem is they live in a floating village where there's no place to play football. In fact, no one in their village has ever played before. I might add just a sentence here, like when the villagers hear of their plan, they think it is ridiculous because there is no place for the boys to even practice. Okay, I'm going to read those sentences to see if it makes sense. The problem is they live on a floating village where there is no place to play football. In fact, no one in their village has ever played before. When the villagers hear of their plan, they think it is ridiculous because there's no place for the that's why you reread things, boys to even practice. So the boys work together to create their own very own football pitch and teach themselves to play football despite the pitch being challenging to play on. Yep, okay, I think that's good. So the summary is really the big part of the introduction to write, because now that I've got that done, all I have to do is come over here, take my thesis, I'm going to copy it, and then over here, I'm going to hit Control V. And there you go. I've already got, and you know what? I don't like how the font is different. If you hit Control, Shift, and then V, it will take whatever formatting is in that box. So if you want to do Control, Shift, V, then the fonts don't get all different. So now I'm going to read it all together and just read to make sure it makes sense. In life, we all have times where we need to have determination to solve a problem. In the story Paine Football Club, a young group of boys living in Paine, Thailand, decide that they are going to start a football team. The problem is they live on a floating village where there is no place to play football. In fact, no one in their village has ever played before. When the villagers hear of their plan, they think it is ridiculous because there's no place for the boys to even practice. So the boys work together to create their very own football pitch. Maybe I want to add their very own floating football pitch. And then I've got a little alliteration in there too. The very own floating football pitch, and teach themselves to play football despite the pitch being challenging to play on. In the end, the boys even go to a football tournament and prove to themselves that they were better than they thought they could be. That they were better than they maybe originally thought they could be. Always look no space at my word choice. Throughout the story, the boys learn that they need to have determination to solve their problems. Awesome. I think that's good. So today, your job is just going to be to write your introduction. Yours might sound similar to mine, but it shouldn't be a straight up copy and paste of mine either. I just want you to see how I'm putting the parts together. Tomorrow, we're going to begin by writing our first body of paragraphs. So don't worry about the rest that's here. We'll eventually fill this in. Today, I just want you to work on writing that introduction, getting a hook, writing your summary, and then your thesis should already be pretty much worded. So you just copy it there to get that introduction done. As always, please email, send a chat or something if you need some help. Hopefully that gets you well started in writing your introduction. Thanks for listening.